driver interviews, pit action, industry news. We're bringing you everything that fuels the adrenaline-pumping world of dirt track racing. Buckle up now. You're sitting with the Slimy Bastards. Take it away, Jason.
We're in Marshalltown, Iowa tonight. Salute to Veterans Tour Week. We started last night and we're here in Marshalltown for tonight. It's an off night of the Salute to Veterans, but a big race in Marshalltown. And just a quick shout out to our sponsors at Lake Mills Motorsports, along with Slade Pitt at Pit Stop Motorsports out there in Wyoming. And thank you for listening and checking us out and following us on TikTok and Facebook and all the social media aspects and Spotify. So with that, I got all the way from Bakersfield, California, Troy Morris, and moved out here, driver of the 07. Is it 07, Troy?
07X, that's me.
Welcome to the Slimy Bastard podcast show, man. I parked next to you yesterday and now going to, and it's hotter than fuck there. It's hotter. I think it's hotter here. My generator took a shit. But yeah, how you doing? How you enjoying Iowa?
I'm loving it. You know, I wish I could be out here full time. But yeah, you know, it's kind of weird. I'm not used to being by myself. I'm completely alone 100% for this trip. So, but you know, the cool thing is I'm still learning a lot. So that's the whole goal.
Now, are you living here through the summer or?
Yeah, I'm going to be out here till Super Nationals.
Okay. When did you come out?
I got out here Dakota Classic Mod Tour. And,
did you run that?
Yeah, I ran the whole thing. Went up, ran every night except for the night that rained out, obviously. We went up to Canada and everything, which was cool. But I sucked that whole trip. But I had a bent rear end. I bent it the first night. I bent both axle tubes.
Oh, shit.
So I fought it all week long because couldn't really change it on the road. I mean, we wanted to, but.
So are you staying with anybody here or what do you?
Yeah, I'm staying with Jeff and Kelly Ike over in Cedar Falls.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of cool staying with a legend like that, you know?
Yeah. Having a ball, though?
Having a blast, absolutely.
And the weather is a little bit different. It's more humid here than what you got back home, right?
Yeah, it's like 110 at home, but it's dry. And I feel like I'd almost rather have the humidity. I feel like it helps me lose some weight. But the dry heat at home, when I roll down the windows, it feels like a blow dryer. So out here, it's kind of nice.
Braxton Yeager is here from Wyoming, and is in his toter or trailer the other day in Spencer, and it is hotter than hell in Spencer. And he goes, I don't think I've ever seen my legs sweat as much as what they are right here. I think this is the first time, but it's just funnier than hell watching you guys from back west come out here during the summer because everyone's just like, holy shit.
Yeah, like the day I got here, we went to Cedar Falls and I immediately went to Performance Bodies to get some parts. I got out of the truck and my glasses fogged up and I was like, oh, here we go again. Yeah. Like every year I come back, I always remember the humidity.
Do you race a lot in Bakersfield?
Yeah, I run there as much as I can normally.
Is there only the one track or?
No, there's two in Bakersfield. There's KCRP. It's a Kern County Raceway Park. It's an asphalt pavement half mile and dirt track on the outside. There's like two tracks. But they don't run IMCA there, and they run modifieds like once a year if we're lucky. They used to run them every week, but they kind of stopped for some reason. It's mainly a sprint car track.
Okay.
And then Bakersfield Speedway runs every other weekend normally. All of March this year though rained out, believe it or not. It never rains in California, but it rained out this year.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. And so I ran a couple races there, had some really good finishes, was actually leading in points at the track before I left. So this year's been pretty good.
Yeah. So you are, do you find it different? Like your car setups and everything, is that a lot different than what it is back home?
Well, not really. I mean, there's little things here and there because the track surfaces are so different, you know? I mean, and like tonight, here, it's more clay-like, and then tomorrow at Boone, it's going to be like soil.
Right.
So that's kind of the only thing I really have to adjust for. This car's pretty consistent. It's pretty versatile. I can kind of, wherever I go, track size, track shape, just minuscule, small changes here and there.
Sure.
But I never really have to throw the kitchen sink at it.
So you've had some pretty good runs here though this week. I mean, you made some big shows and all that, and this is another big field pretty accomplished of so far, right?
Yeah. I mean, I can't complain. Obviously, I've had some decent finishes out here in the past, so the couple bad finishes I have had are kind of disappointing, but I just got to realize it's all part of the process.
So I noticed your shirts and your trailer. You kind of got that surfer vibe to you anyway. And I assume, do you surf at all?
No, believe it or not, I actually don't even like the water. I think it's just the people I grew up around. And
Yeah.
I mean, I used to have the long blonde hair and all that stuff when I was younger. Everybody told me I had the Justin Bieber cut and stuff like that. But no, it's my sister does. She likes the water. She likes to surf, but that's not me.
What do you do outside of racing? Like, what are you doing?
Well, I work for my dad full time at a sign company that we have, but
Okay.
I'm trying to race full time. That's the ultimate goal.
Sure.
I'm trying to be able to be on the road and just pay my bills doing this. Like I tell everybody, I don't want to be rich and famous. I just want to race.
Yeah.
And so as long as I can survive racing cars, that's the goal.
So there's been quite a few of you that's come back from there. You know, Ethan Dotson, Cody Laney, just a couple names I know off the top of my head.
Right.
But you compare notes, or do you guys talk to quite a bit or to them guys, or?
Honestly, no, I don't really. I don't want to say I'm kind of a loner, but I mean, so the chassis I run's a Victory Circle. Cody Laney's Chris Stevenson's his name. I call him the Magic Man. He's a miracle worker. He's one of the head honchos over there at VC. And so I kind of go to him for help, and him and my dad, but I don't really talk to any other racers. We kind of got our own thing going on.
Yeah.
It's not far off from the actual standard chassis setup from Victory Circle, but got a little things here and there.
Do you find it different, like in the pits, as people's attitudes and everything different in California? Because here, like, everybody helps each other and tries out. Do you find that back home too?
Of like reality TV, everything's drama, everything's fights, everything. It's miserable on a weekly night normally compared to out here. It's
Really?
I mean, you could rub doors with the dude.
Sure.
And if he's having a bad night, he'll take it out on you. I mean, it's horrible. Out here, you run 4 wide coming off the corner, and everybody leaves each other just enough room to get by.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like the racecraft and the actual side-by-side racing out here is just so much better. And the drama, like I said, the drama in the pits afterwards is like non-existent compared to at home. There's a fight every week at home.
Yeah. Because you just see that quite a bit. You walk down and through, everybody's kind of helping each other and, you know, trying to work with each other and that. I mean, every once in a while you're going to have some flare-ups, but you're going to have that everywhere, right? So other than that, I mean, where are you going after you got Boone tomorrow night? What's your plans after that?
So I'll run, like you said, I'll run Boone tomorrow, and then I'm going to head over to East Moline in Illinois Sunday.
Okay.
They got a $1,500 win race there.
Okay.
And then the rest of the week's kind of just up in the air. I usually put a post on Facebook or something asking what's racing, because I try to find it. We have a schedule put together, but it's not very big. It's kind of just a couple tracks that we listed down. So I try to follow my schedule as much as I can, but I'm kind of trying to chase the money a little bit.
Right.
It's kind of hard to run weekly shows if you don't have any, because the point average. So I'll start at the back every time. You know?
Sure.
But,
so when you're not racing and that, what are you doing?
well, I'm either fishing or I'm hanging out with my buddy that I go fishing with. There's not much in between. It's
Have you fished here in Iowa?
No, technically, yeah. Last year, Jeff took me out on his boat on the river, and we fished for some walleye, and that was cool. But I brought my own stuff this year. I didn't last year, and I regretted it. So, but I haven't had time.
You need to really, if you can, get over to Spencer area and go up to Okoboji there in that area, because there's some really good sized largemouth bass up there.
That's all I do, dude.
And our family has a condo up there, and I just fish right off the dock and that. And it's a ball because you catch some good sized largemouth bass just right off the dock.
That's sick.
But it's pretty fun, and you get on some rivers too and get catfishing and all that. It's some good fishing around here.
Yeah, the only thing I fish for at home is really largemouth. We try to find it's my buddy. We live across the street from each other. We used to race with each other. It's kind of a perfect storm. He's the one who got me into fishing. I didn't even know what I was doing. He kind of brought me along. Well, he's just taken me to farm ponds, like out in the middle of almond orchards, because in Bakersfield, in that ag area where we're from, it's all almonds and grapevines and oil fields, and so there's farm ponds hidden everywhere. So we use Google Maps and find them, you know, and if they're stocked and there's not a sign there, we'll try to get there. But
really?
That's all I
did
fish
they
for.
stock them then, or?
Yeah, there's a couple. Usually the good ones are the ones with signs. So if you see a no fishing sign, you're usually in luck. But they stock them, and some of them have some decent sized fish in there, but I haven't caught anything big.
Yeah. So and touring around and being at different racetracks and doing all this and that, what has been one of your favorite tracks so far that you've been to?
Just this year or in total?
Just in total, or
So over in Nebraska, at Columbus, US 30, that's one of my favorite tracks in the country I've ever been to.
Really?
And Bobby Lincoln and his wife and his daughter over there, they take care of the track, and he's the promoter / owner. They live across the way. They let you race till, so when the feature's over, they'll let you go out and hot lap till 2 a.m. They don't care.
Oh, really?
I mean, they're the nicest, coolest people in the world. And that racetrack's a perfectly maintained, beautiful facility. And one of the it's a little small track, basically the size of my home track, which I like. And it's banked, not crazy, but you could run all over it. And so I love that place.
Do you, here in Iowa, what would you say one of your favorite tracks is that you've been to so far here in Iowa?
In Iowa, it's kind of hard. I mean, I like Marshalltown. I just haven't really had any good finishes here.
Yeah. It's
Boone,
a tough track.
Oh, it is. It is. It's really tough. And it doesn't, like at Boone, you kind of know what you're going to get. It's because they prep it so much, and it's basically the same every night that I've been there. Here, it's always different, so it keeps you on your toes, you know?
Sure.
And so I love this place. I'm pretty decent at Boone, so I like Boone. I like the smaller tracks. So when I have to go to these bigger tracks, like I love Spencer, but it's a bigger track, you know? So I try to stick to the bull rings as much as I can.
Have you been to Britt at all?
Yeah. I was there last year for that night. Not this week, but next week.
Following week.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'll be for the Harris Clash and all that good stuff during that week.
So have you raced Deer Creek before?
Yeah.
Did you do that? Okay. What do you think of that? That's one of my favorite tracks.
It's legit. I love that place. I mean, and it raced great all night long. I mean, my favorite thing in the world is running the fence, and you could be up on the wall. There's
so many. I mean, you got almost 2, 3, 4 wide racing at times on that thing, depending on the night. But it's if you could get up high and all that, and watching it as a fan or even as in the pits there, you feel like those cars are coming right up on you. I mean, it's crazy right there.
Yeah, last year when I went, so it was funny. It's kind of I don't want to say it's a long story, but I screwed up. I bent, right before we came back on this trip last year, I bent a rear end again. So I put it back together, I put it in myself, and I measured everything right, but I missed one thing. I had my right rear chain in the wrong spot, and my car is super, super, super particular. Like everything has to be absolutely perfect, measurement-wise, or else I can feel it. Well, we went to the first night of that tour last year before Deer Creek was at Spencer, and I couldn't come off the corner to save my life. And I was like, okay, it was slick. It's a big track. I don't run on big tracks very often. Right. Might have just been me. Well, then we go to Deer Creek, and I just sucked in the heat race. And I'm like, I should be good here. Like, you know what I mean? Right. This is a lot closer to home. This is my kind of racetrack. And I was talking to my dad, and we just had this conversation. I'm like, I don't know how to explain it, so I'm just going to tell you how it feels in my head. I don't care how dumb I sound. I was like, it feels like it's doing this. And the car, I can just look at it. I feel like I'm looking at it from above, and I could see it hiking up this way and doing this. And so we just kind of got to talking, and he's like, you know what, let me check something. And he goes under there, and the chain that I freaking screwed up, it's the drop on the right rear. I had way too much drop on the right rear. And so at that little bit of a mistake just cost me. So we fixed it, and I went out for the B main, and I passed a bunch of cars in the B main, and I had a blast. I didn't make it, but at least we figured out the issue, and I was decent the rest of the week, you know. So
and it fixed itself. After that, you pretty much fixed yourself.
Right. It was kind of a boost too, you know. Okay, maybe I don't suck so bad. The car's a little messed up, you know? Right.
So, did your dad race at all, or?
Yeah, he ran modifieds for the last 20 something years. I think his first year in a modified was 2001. I think he ran a hobby stock in like 2099, I think. Okay. And so at the Bakersfield Speedway. So I grew up. I was born in 2004, and so before I was in my mom's stomach, I was in the grandstands at the racetrack. So since before I was born, I was at the racetrack. And so I got like my first race, I was 2 or 3 days old. Like they got me from the hospital to the racetrack. Dad was racing. Yeah. So I grew up around it. So he's always ran modifieds. Well, I fell in love with sprint cars when I was a kid. Yeah. I'd see him come out to the racetrack, and whether it was lightning sprints, midgets, ecotechs, freaking 360s, I didn't know what they were back then, but I was like, I seen a wing or the chassis of a micro or a midget or something. I'm like, Dad, sprint cars, we got to go, you know, because we live so close to the track. And so we'd go out there every weekend, and I always loved sprint cars. So he got me back when I got out. I used to race mini dwarfs, so little Briggs and Stratton something, or they were Hondas, little go-kart or lawnmower engines, you know. Well, I got out of those, and he got me into micro sprints, you know, the little mini sprints, the 600cc stuff. And those are big on the West Coast. Yeah. There's not very many tracks for them. There's only 4 tracks for them that run weekly, but it's a big deal. So I was super pumped just to be in a sprint car style car. And, you know, I not like I was particular. I'm not one of those. I'm not a sprint car guy. I'm not a late model guy. I love it all. So you know what I mean? I always tell everybody I'm not racist. I love all kinds of races. I love NASCAR.
You just want to race.
Yeah, I'm just, but so I got in the micro or whatever, and then I got in a USAC midget because I was really trying to get, me and dad was trying to get me up into the higher ranks, maybe so I could pick up a ride with somebody so I could go full time in the sprint car side. Well, I had driving it, but I was not we didn't know what we were doing. So my dad coming from modifieds for so long, and then we jump into something.
It's a whole different setup,
it's
whole
a different world. Yeah. And then the jetting and the injection and stuff like that. I mean, we started figuring it out towards the end, and I had some good runs. I had a couple top threes and stuff like that, but I flipped it. One time I flipped 11 times off the racetrack. Like at Merced in California, there's no wall. And so I just kept going until I hit the wall that was down there. I mean, it was bad. And so I got out of that, or we got rid of the midget stuff pretty quick after that because it was just too much. And so I went back to micros for a little bit, and then scamdemic crap hit. We went to Colorado because it was the only place you could race.
Yep.
Well, it was a micro. You could bring it was like 8 divisions, and they had 3 days, and like hundreds of cars showed up because nobody could race. And so we all showed up, and I brought my micro sprints, and dad brought the modified for me to drive. And so I drove the micro sprint that weekend, actually swept the weekend in both classes. It was money weekend for me. And then I got in the modified, and I was sucking, and I was like, yeah, I'm no good in this thing, and then we worked on it. And then the last night I was up front battling for the lead in the feature, and I'm like, this is fun. I told my dad, I said, this is good. Now that I can I understand the car a little more. I was after those 3 days
running, and
so the next day he ordered the victory circle. That was a Larry Shaw. He used to run all Larry Shaw stuff. And he'd always talked about, he goes, man, if you got a modified, I'd get us a victory circle. Immediately ordered the car, and since then I fell in love with it and got rid of all the other stuff.
So did he ever come back here and race?
No. Really? No. The farthest he ever went east is like Vegas. It's really
for like the duel in the desert, or
exactly.
Okay. So has he been out here with you at all?
Yeah, he was. So my first ever race alone ever was like last Thursday. So every race I've ever ran, dad's been there. Well, the first year we came out was 21. And we came out in 20 for just the Super Nationals, but that's the year it rained every day and nobody got to race. Well,
so it's basically Woodstock on the Woodstock. You know what I'm talking about? Woodstock.
It sounds familiar.
The big music festival.
Oh yeah,
and you see people just sliding into mud and everything. That's basically what it was.
Oh, it was horrible. Yeah. I mean, we go out. It was like 20 degrees and raining, and it's not possible, but it felt like it. And so 21 was our first year out here. We were out here for like 3 or 4 weeks, and we thought, man, this is a long time, And dad was like, yeah, we might come for a little longer next year because we did really good. I didn't run a single B main that year. Like every race I went to, I qualified for Super Nationals. I qualified for the All-Star race at the Super Nationals. I qualified for the Race for Hope. I qualified for both nights of the Marshalltown World Nationals. I mean, I didn't run a B main. Like it was a great Midwest trip. Well, then last year we come out, and I have another year of experience under my belt. Again, that was my first year doing, like I said, that chain issue the first week we were here. So that was a little downer. But towards the end of we were back here for 6 weeks. Towards the end of those 6 weeks, I was running really good. And we figured it out. I won a race in Illinois at East Moline, got my first Midwest win. It was cool,
Right.
And the motor blew at Britt, believe it or not, and that's when I met Ike. And so it's totally a gift from God that night that I blew up. We had to look at the bright side. So if you want to get into that, right?
Yeah, I got all the time in the world. We're both just sweating our asses off. So
no, it's a cool story. It's a cool story. So because everybody asked me how the heck does a California kid know Jeff Ike? Well, we pull up to Britt. We get unloaded and everything, and we're just sitting there waiting. Well, Jeff always likes to come right before hot lap, so he pulls up late. And him and Fuzzy and Troop unload the car, and then we're sitting in the trailer, and he comes in the trailer. He pulls up next to us first of all. And I'm like, Dad, do you know who that is? And my dad's like, I have no idea who that is. And I was like, it's Jeff Ike. And he's like, why does that name sound familiar? I was like, he won Super Nationals like last year or the year before. He's like, oh shoot, okay. And then he sees the car unload, and he recognizes it. Yeah. Well, Jeff comes in the trailer because he's just that kind of guy. Grabs one of my tires and sits down, and he goes, "Where are you guys from? I've never seen you around here." And just starts talking, and starts getting to know us. Well, anyway, I blow up that night, and he's like, in the heat race, and he's like, "Where are you going to change the motor at?" And I told him, we're going to go to Boone. We're going to race Boone the next day. And I was like, we're going to go to Boone and use the tow truck and do it at the track. And he goes, no, you're not. I was like, what do you mean, no, we're not? He goes, you're going to follow me home tonight. You're going to use my shop. You're gonna use my lift, the wash bay and everything. You're gonna change motors there. My dad's like, no, we don't want to be an inconvenience. We're good, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. So we followed him that night from Britt to his shop. It was like an hour drive or whatever. And I pull up to a shop and I'm just like, holy crap, like this is cool, man. He has a cool little setup over there. And so we unload, and in the morning he takes us to breakfast, and then we come back and we change the motor. Well, he comes back right before we're about to stay here for your duration of the trip. And we're like, what do you mean? He goes, you can just come back every night, unload and wash, use the shop, and then go race. And we're like, I looked at my dad. I was like, Dad, that sounds sick. And he's like, no, we don't want to be rude, this and that. And I get that part of it. Right. But Jeff wouldn't take no for an answer. So he not made us, but we came back.
Yeah.
And then we're out to dinner one night because we were there for 2 weeks. And he said, I want you to come back here and live with me next summer. Like Colin Hibden did it with him, And Colin's really good.
Sure.
So I was like, Dad, this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And first Dad was like, no way. Like, you work for me. Plus I can't have you gone for that long. It's you'd be by yourself, this and that. And so Jeff basically talked my dad into it. So that's how I met Jeff. That's how I got to stay with him.
Now, where does he live at?
Cedar Falls.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty central. It's like an hour from Marshalltown, 2 hours from Boone. Yep. It's an hour from West Union. It's an hour from...
Pretty central located. And
yeah, it'll be here. It's in a good spot.
Now, is he going to be here tonight?
Yeah, he'll be here. I have 2 spots saved for him up there. He'll be here in the late model and the modified. So
roll out the red carpet.
Exactly. You got royalty coming through. We got a Hall of Famer showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but...
so when being out here, and there again... racers helping other racers, right? You've seen that with how Jeff is helping you. I've seen Sean Ritter's a big guy that does all that with quite a bit of guys too. He helps a lot of Iowa-based guys, and it just kind of keeps you in check of like where guys come from, you know what I mean? And it's kind of cool seeing it grow up, because a lot of guys end up just moving here, then they end up living here, right?
Right.
And you kind of see it start paying forward with some of them too. So with that, I mean, are you into what music are you into?
I listen to if it's not praise and worship Christian music, it's country music. I don't listen to. I mean, I play the drums, so I love anything with a good beat. But I'm not picky. I could listen to anything. But if I had to choose, it'd be either that praise and worship or it's country.
Yeah. So you said you played the drums?
Yeah, I play the drums for my church at home.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What kind of set? Do you have your own drum kit and everything?
I kind of do at home, but I've always really it was an old set from the church. But at church, we kind of downsized, so our sanctuary is a little smaller. So I've got an electric drum kit in there. It's old Roland, but it's fun. Yeah, and
they're not bad drum kits. So I have an electric drum kit too that I got for my little guy. You met Maverick last night.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And but they've been on my ass to get it set up because I'm just been so overwhelmed doing this. And but I played drums all like through school and just fucked around with it. I mean, I'm no pro by any means, but I love music, and I love the aspect of that, and I love the drums and all that too. So it's pretty cool. I'm into all genres of music. Went to so Chantel, my wife, she's like, we're going to a country concert. I couldn't even tell you who the fuck it was. It's just a couple of weeks ago, but it was the guy that sings the Applebee song or whatever the hell it is.
Oh my, Walker Hayes.
Yeah, and Maverick loves that song, so we had to go up to it, you know. And but the opening guy that opened up for him, fuck, I can't even tell you his name now. But anyway, really, really cool guy. Walked out, and I was getting a beer and some other stuff for the kids and that. And he was standing right there, and went up, talked to him for probably a good 10, 15 minutes. Gave my kids some guitar picks, took some pictures, signed an autograph and all that. He calls his music Rocky Talk, something like that. Rocky Honk or something instead of honky tonk, it's Rocky Talk or something like that.
It wasn't like Hardy, was it?
No, it wasn't him. It was, fuck, I can't remember, but he's a really cool guy. But I actually, it wasn't a bad concert at all. Like, I've been to a shit ton of concerts and all that, and but it wasn't bad at all. I enjoyed myself, and it's pretty cool. And Iowa, well, this was up in Minnesota, but still summer nights and an outdoor show like that, it's a ball to go to.
Yeah, it's cool.
So if you get some time and you're not rhyme, just go, because they're actually not bad well, I mean, growing up in California, you probably have them a dime a dozen, but.
Well, believe it or not, I've never been to a concert.
Oh, no kidding.
I don't really. I literally, if I'm not racing, I'm working on the race cars, and if I have a day off, dude. I'm addicted to this stuff, dude. I raced. So Thursday I raced, Friday I raced, Saturday I raced in the morning, Saturday I raced in the night. So I ran 2 shows Saturday. Then I drove 4 hours to South Dakota and raced in South Dakota Sunday, 1:30 in the morning. Woke up the next day, took out the motor, took all the pulleys and pumps and everything off of it, got it to the engine builder, then drove 4 hours almost down to Missouri, picked up a motor, drove back, put it in, woke up the next day. Then I left for Spencer. Got to Spencer at like 7 o'clock because it's like a 4-hour drive or a 3-hour drive. And so but I don't care. I'd rather do this than anything else, you know.
You know what's funny is I've been talking to a lot of drivers, right? And they all say the same thing of, oh, if I'm not racing, I'm working on the car. Or if I'm not working on the car, I'm watching racing. Or it's funny that way of.
Yeah. It's like I don't even know I'm infatuated with it.
And there's nothing wrong with it, right? I mean, so how's the fan response been here? You starting to build a fan following? I know my daughter and my little guy last night were talking about you a little bit after the races and that. And my daughter drew a pill for you.
Oh, yeah. That was her. Okay.
Yeah. And just because she, you know, we know Jaegers really well, and Maverick loves Braxton and Tanner Black and that. But anyway, Maverick was drawing for Braxton last night, and then you're like, oh, have her draw for me. And so that made her feel really good. You know, that's pretty cool. You guys do that.
If there's a kid anywhere, I like to involve them.
I think honestly, this sport is lacking right now. And what I mean, I don't mean disrespect on any way whatsoever possible, but each race, you don't have the crowds like what you used to. And like right now, IMCA TV or Flow TV or whatever that's broadcasting the races, I think it's helping, but it's also hurting. If that makes sense.
No, I get it.
There's back home that could watch it that are not here, right?
Right.
But it's hurting the track of the local people that may come to the track.
Because now when it's 90 degrees tonight, everybody's going to sit home in the AC and watch it on TV.
Right. And then they're not here, right?
Right.
And but to get people into the crowds and get even kids to the pit and interact with the drivers, I remember that as being a kid as well with my dad. And I mean, we went everywhere.
Right.
And it was really cool to have that, you know, sit in the car and, you know what I mean?
Every time there's kids that pass by, I yell at them, hey, come here. You know, I have these lanyards and I forgot my hero cards. I'm trying to get my mom to ship them out for me, but I have little lanyards and stuff like that I give them, you know, and they can take a picture. They can get in the car. I'll sign anything for them. I'm not picky. I'll do whatever you want.
I'm going to throw an idea across your plate here with this hero card thing. Just grab some of Ikey's hero cards, scribble out his number, put your number on it, and then scribble out the autograph and sign your name on it. And there you go. He's got to have a dime a dozen of it.
You're probably right. I haven't seen him, but I know he's got to have something. I go everywhere, all across the freaking country, and I see people with Ikey shirts on. It's crazy. Yeah. And my brother loves his. My little brother came out last year with us, and he's like, every time, or he has the shirt and he wears it everywhere. He wears it like every other day. It seems like he loves that thing because everybody likes Jeff. He's just the coolest dude. I got my younger sister. She's 16, so we're 2 years apart. And then I got my younger brother. He's 7. Okay. And so his name's Cohen, and he's involved in a little bit of everything. He likes to be there helping. Yeah, it's cool.
So are they coming out for the Super Nationals then, or?
Yeah, I think I know as a fact my dad and Cohen, my little brother, are. I don't know if my mom and my sister are yet. Yeah. But that'd be cool if they did. They're gonna drive. We have a stacker and hauler at home. I just brought my little truck and trailer, but they have the big rig at home, so they're gonna bring it out here during Super National.
Oh, nice. So you got somewhere to stay in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now you seem like the kid that would be up there on T-shirt row.
T-shirt, like the vendor row.
No, we call it T-shirt row. Have you ever heard this saying before?
I haven't.
It's Tanner Black's home spot. He sells more shirts than anybody up there.
Oh.
But it's right up Prime. You know where you get the prime rib sandwiches up there?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about at Boone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Boone.
yeah.
I call it T-shirt row. People call it T-shirt row because there's so many, guys fight to get up in there.
Right. That's cool.
But you seem like that kind of kid that'd be right up there with that.
Right.
You're only, what you need is some blow up palm trees.
Oh, yeah.
Get that, because your T-shirt, I think your T-shirts are badass.
Thank you.
And they're not your normal race T-shirt, right?
Yeah, that's my dad designed them. My dad's a graphic designer. He was like, we got to do something different.
Yeah, I think it's cool as hell. Yeah. I think it's really good.
We have another style too, because it's kind of almost like Screw California. But I love the state. I love the scenery and the places. It's just the people that suck. So the palm trees and everything like that, we wanted to really embrace it on these shirts because it's something different, and we're coming out to the Midwest. And so I didn't realize how many people had never even been over there until I got back here this year and they saw the shirts like, yeah, I've never even been to California. And I'm like, oh yeah, take a shirt.
You sure you want to go?
I say you're not missing out on much.
Yeah, it's just so and then we drove down to San Diego and all that. And it's just, it's cool along the coast. Like, it's neat to see all that, and glad we were able to take the kids and that. But on the other side of that, you don't realize how dirty it's gotten. If that makes sense. Yeah.
So along the coast, like San Diego, like you said, it's beautiful there,
right?
And it's actually a really clean city compared to LA. Right. Once you get into over the mountains and into LA, it's just garbage, and there's like 13 million people there, so it's just a total cluster of just nastiness and homelessness and drug abuse, and it's horrible.
And it's sad, really.
It really is.
Yeah. So are you planning on, is that a thought of maybe moving back here to live here full time, or are you planning on staying there? And
so my grandpa, he's the founder / owner of our church that we have in California. Well, he's looking at property in Missouri. I think they actually put an offer in on it. It's an old RV resort they had there that kind of, he wants to turn it into like a church stay. You pull in, park for the week. It's a nice place. It's beautiful, surrounded by trees. It's got a pool there, a big house on the property, but he wants to turn it into like a park and stay and come inside and fellowship and worship, and then you get out of there. It's your 1 week thing, I'm not saying he's going to kick you out, but it's going to be like a retreat kind of deal, so we're
now, if you don't mind me asking, what denomination church do you?
Oh, it's Christian.
Okay,
but we're like,
is it non-denominational
basically?
Okay,
yeah, we have a lot of different views on everything. So what I tell everybody when they ask, because we don't celebrate Christmas, we don't celebrate Halloween, we don't do any holidays like that. We're not Jehovah's Witness, but we don't celebrate those holidays. I mean, we celebrate stuff like 4th of July and Thanksgiving, but and we have church on Saturdays instead of Sundays, but we're not Seventh-day Adventist. I like to tell everybody the way we do it. So everything we do is taken directly from the word. There's no interpretation involved. Okay. So if you think about it, most religions and everything come from years of tradition and ways of doing it. Especially Catholicism, Catholics, they have their way of doing their things and their rituals and everything they do. Well, we try to base everything off directly just the word itself. So we're trying not to get into the
almost like a political side of
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people think you do this for this reason because it does this, but that's just what everybody's done for so long,
I find it, as I said before, I'm a big Elvis Presley fan. That's where my daughter Presley's name came from.
Sick.
And but always read a lot of stuff about Elvis and everything, and he actually was into a lot of different religions. Like, he would study and get to know all aspects of different religions. So I find it interesting after reading what his thought process is on all that, just because you try to see what other people's side of views are on everything. Right. Like, I'm a non-denominational Christian. I don't go to church every Sunday, but I do go to church and that, and we try to raise our kids right by that. But I'm not one of them that's going to pound stuff down people's throats and all that. And that's to each their own.
Yeah, well, the Bible does it doesn't say to shove a religion down everybody's throats. It just says to be a light. Yeah. And you should be able to see God through us, and it shouldn't have to be something we have to pronounce out loud. Right. You know what I mean? It's kind of an energy you see off of somebody. It's a demeanor you see off of somebody.
Right. It's like treat people the way you'd want to be treated.
Exactly. If you have somebody with a bitter personality and a bitter heart, you can kind of tell, you know what I mean? So,
right. So I guess, what's your big goal you have? Which one which one race you want to win here? And I know everyone says, "Oh, the Boone Nationals," da da da.
Right.
Which everybody and 900 guys else want to race, want to win that. But
right.
What's one race besides Boone that you would like to just be like, you know what, I did it?
It's got to be the Harris Clash. I mean, I feel like the prestige of that race is so big because there's 100. Well, no, I shouldn't say 100, but there's like 60, 70, maybe 80 modifieds that show up, and it's a one-day deal. There's like 12 heat races. Yep. Only the winner goes. So it's crazy. It's one of the hardest races to get into because you only have one shot. And if your pill draw sucks, everybody tells me it's a pill draw race because it's not passing points, it's just transfer spots. Well, I want to win that thing. I want to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm from out of state or whatever. Like Tom Berry, he's not from around here, but he did it. I mean, he's been back here for a while, so it kind of helps, but I want to try to get that. I mean, obviously, like you said, Super Nationals is at the top of the list. That's everybody's goal. And I've actually had some pretty good success there, but I feel like I could run up front. I mean, if your car's good enough, usually you can make something happen to get into a transfer spot. But with that many good guys there, like if you make the feature, it's the 33. It's one of the 33 of the best modified racers in the country, and they're still lapping each other. Yeah. So it just shows you how good you have to be. Right.
It's a whole different ball game, isn't it?
It's completely different because you got that many cars, and the format's super cool. It's probably the best format you could have for a big race like that. It's really nice. Yeah. And the heat races are nice because there's 30 of them. Well, it's very rare that you get 9 good guys in a heat race. So you have them all kind of spread out a little bit. So heat races you can pass and you can move around normally. Every now and then you get one with a bunch of good guys in it, but it's very rare. The odds of that are very low. So and then the track is so different because, like I said, it's like getting a hold of that stuff's a little different. And the track shape, it's a long paper clip, and you have to stop the car to get into the bottom of the corner. And I mean, I love the place. It races great in my opinion. I love the little half buried tires. The facility's impeccable. It's astronomical. It's beautiful. It's all the above. But it's definitely difficult.
So, have you met any of the Harris guys then?
Harris chassis guys? Yeah. I've met Kyle Brown. I met him one year in Batesville, but I know Cody acquaintances with Tom, so before he got to Lethal just now. But so I know a couple of the Harris guys. Yeah.
And Kyle's actually, I met him for the first time at a USMTS race up in Mason City. Really, really cool guy. Just a chill guy to sit there and talk with. And in all reality, I think on all manufacturers that I've met, you take the Shyrock guys, all of them been really, really cool. And that's what's, you don't have ones that's really bashing each other. And that makes it nice for people because honestly, if I heard someone kind of bashing another one, it's kind of a turnoff, if that makes sense.
No, I get it.
But I was just curious if you knew any of them guys or if you had any interactions with them. But,
yeah, no, I've definitely talked to them.
So with that, anyone you want to thank? And
absolutely. First and foremost, obviously, got to thank Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I couldn't do without him. He's with me every step of the way. But I got to thank Accelerated Urgent Care, the best urgent care in California. I mean, they're legit. Advanced Sign Contractors, got to thank Troy Morris Trucking, Stevenson Suspension, the Magic Man, that's Chris Stevenson at home. Got to thank American Fabrication, American Powder Coating, Weir's Machine, got to thank Hypercoat Springs, PE Emerins, Fast Shafts. I got to thank my dad. Obviously, I couldn't do any of this without him. That's for sure. My mom, she's been super supportive through all this. My grandparents are watching every night at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I got buddies like my buddy Nathan at home who helped me get the car ready before I left.
Sitting here listening to you just rattle that off, you'd think you've been in NASCAR for like 15 years of.
I used to.
You're just missing the drink in your hand. You got Dasani water sitting there. I'm just picturing you. Yeah, I'd like to think that.
Yeah, I need to have the label out at the camera. That's So I feel like, I mean, this might be a little off topic, but with what you're saying, sponsors are a big deal. And so when I was younger, my dad prepped me for it. And I used to practice in the mirror. I wouldn't look in the mirror.
That's what I was just going to say. Yeah. It's like you're probably driving down the road, just doing it in the...
That's exactly. My dad we used to be on the way to races when I was like 7 years old. And he'd be like, so Troy Morris, how does it feel to win your first race? And this and that, stuff like that. And I'd start talking. He's like, no, remember, you gotta do this. You gotta thank this guy. Don't look at your car. Don't try to read the sponsors off the car, stuff like that, And so I got everything memorized, and I feel like I've definitely worked on my interview skills. I love interviews. Yeah. I love doing
on any of this. I'm not no pro. I'm not acting to be like a pro. I'm just out here having a ball doing it. My dad and I followed racing. My dad passed away in January, and it's kind of to keep his memory alive, but something that we both enjoyed doing.
Right.
And I've always wanted to do it, and that's why I just kind of took off. And but it's like you said, each time you get better and better and better, and it's been fun. Like I've enjoyed doing it.
Well, sitting here talking to you, it feels like you've done it for a while.
On the fly. I don't have a notebook or anything. Like guys are like, oh, you need to have a set, of what you're going to. I don't like that whole feel just because I don't think it's genuine. If
feels
that makes
scripted.
sense. Yeah. I just like going off the fly of it.
You listen to some podcasts and the guys are like, and you're like, yeah, nobody wants to listen to
I have
pauses.
some of them, but I've had a couple of bush lights in me too. And so it's been a different,
Right.
And people then, they think that, some of the shows have been pretty out there and out of control and fun and that. But the name came from is my dad would always joke with like Ethan Dotson and them guys they would joke around with them, and my dad's come back and be like, "Oh, you slimy bastard," or "You slimy bitch."
So that's where the name came from.
So yeah, so when I wanted to come up and do this, then some friends of ours and friends of mine and friends of my dad said, "Oh, if you're gonna do it, you got to have the name Slimy Bastard," and I didn't want to have Slimy Bitch because that you can't be driving down the highway.
Right, with a big.
I mean, it's already bad enough with bastard,
Right.
I mean, but it's all in good fun, and it's if that makes sense.
No,
it's been fun.
I think it's cool that your dad's still involved in all this, no matter what. So,
yeah. It's there's some hard times. I'm not gonna lie. Like Tanner Black was really close to my dad, and we talked this whole week. It's nice seeing him up here, and like Braxton Yeager and my dad were really close. That's like if you see on Braxton's car, my dad's logo or face is just like on our shirts here.
Oh, okay.
Is on his hood and that, and so it's been nice seeing all them guys together and running this whole week with them because it's there's been some tough times.
No, I get it.
You have those moments in that, and not to mention my generator taking a shit. What's the odds? I go to pull the string, and the damn thing just snaps off, and I'm just sitting there holding.
Yeah,
and you're
with
sitting
like
there
90% humidity.
Yeah, you're just looking at the string like, oh god damn it.
Right. Right.
What? Really?
Well, I used to work on a lot of small engines, so later, if you want, I could probably help you fix it. But
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah. I used to work on go-karts all the time, so
yeah,
it's actually not that bad.
Well, with that being said, I want to thank you for being on the show, and best of luck for you tonight and the rest of the year and that. And are you going to be out at Duel in the Desert this year? Or?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going to try to get out there for it. Some guys have said, you should come out and do it and all that. And then also with like the Winter Nationals in June or January. And
you got to go to that.
I've always wanted to go to that, and I haven't been to that. I've been to the Duel in the Desert and that, but the Duel in the Desert's one of them that's, what do you want to say? You're out there in Vegas, and it's in November. You think it's going to be warm, and it's not.
It's freezing.
And so it's like, all right, do I want to go there, or do I want to go to Arizona in January for a weekend?
Right.
So
the Winter Nationals this next year is 8 days. It's 4 days on, 2 days off, and 4 days on.
Yeah.
And there's 100 modifieds every night. I mean, and the track is amazing. I love it.
Sure.
I love it.
Yeah.
You gotta go to that.
And my hat's off because like you take Jerry Van Sickle, who goes down there and broadcasts that, right?
Right.
And obviously he runs like this whole week. I love listening to that guy.
Right.
And my Maverick, he'll act like him, with those race cars and that. But
oh yeah,
it's that I think that even makes some of that show just for me as a fan. And I think even this whole week, I haven't been to a track that has been bad at all.
Right.
Last night, the racing wasn't as good as the other two nights. What I mean by Britt and Spencer, but being on and
thanks for having me, man.
And hope to come back, sit down with us when I got air conditioner or we may need heat. I got a heater in here, but we don't need that today. So.
Right.
But thank you for checking us out, listening, and follow us and give us a like and share our podcast. And until next time, thank you for listening to the Slimy Bastard Podcast Show.
Pit Stop Motorsports, Dirt Tracks Racing, largest inventory trackside parts service.
We keep racers on the track, located in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and coming to a track near you. Check us out on Facebook at Pit Stop Motorsports. And tell Slade Pitt the slimy bastards sent you.
Driver interviews, pit action, industry news. We're bringing you everything that fuels the adrenaline-pumping world of dirt track racing. Buckle up now. You're sitting with the slimy bastards.